Houston Outlaws with a big opportunity here. Shanghai Dragons untouchable at this point. Oh, the disrespect. Jake, this guy's game sense is just on the next level, man. Oh, but the kill's coming back around for the Shanghai Dragons. He was already dead, man.
It's time for the final match of the day. Welcome back. We are live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. We still got an awesome crowd in here. How you guys doing out there? We still got our voices left. Shockman in the front's almost done, but it's time to keep this party rolling. We've got our analyst desk back in full force. It's Bren, Sideshow, and Zoe with us here, and we're gonna jump right into the matches we've seen so far today. It all started with the Shock going up against the Fusion. Zoe, this one didn't go the way the Shock were hoping for.
It did not, but I still think it was a really great match from both of those teams. I really feel like they both made it competitive, and yeah, Fusion came out on top in the end.
Yeah, all around, I gotta say, Mayhem, despite the fact that they, it seems like a bit of a blowout performance, they did show signs of life. They showed that they were flexible with the compositions they were running. I'm actually very hopeful for this squad moving forward, especially because arguably they've got two very hard teams out the way at the start of this stage one quite early on. Now it's pretty much just gonna be a downhill race from here.
It's time to kick off the final match of the night. Houston Outlaws, Shanghai Dragons are both sitting at 0-2. One of them about to get their first win of the regular season. It's time to bring them out to the stage. Give it up for the Houston Outlaws. Ryujay Hong in his post-game interview just said that this is the team to look out for, the squad that could threaten Seoul's incredible run so far. They started out 0-2, but this is a fan-favorite lineup, and a lot of people are a bit surprised to see that they're currently 0-2 in the standings, Zoe.
Yeah, but you know, I got to talk to the guys, and they said they're not deterred by their slow start. They didn't really expect to come out swinging. They do feel like that the matches they had so far were hard matches to win, so they didn't really think that they're necessarily going to win them. Now, they think generally the losses are attributed to process problems, not an issue to like individual skills or anything the players have done, and that means that no one of them is really beating themselves up, and they're still keeping up this really positive mindset.
I love it.
Yeah, across the board, this team has so much talent online as well. You saw in that post-game interview just then, Ryujay Hong shouting out the Houston Outlaws, and for very good reasoning. A lot of the pros I've spoken to do rate a lot of the players on this team as some of the best in the West. Most notably, Muma and Kuma are two of this tank duo I really want to sort of highlight, because a lot of players, Siegel included, was mentioning that he does rate both of these players in terms of their game sense, their positioning. It's all pretty much on point and on par with some of the best teams in the world.
That's a look at the Houston Outlaws. It's time, though, to introduce their opponent. Please welcome to the right side of our stage, the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai coming out with all smiles despite a disappointing 0-2 start, but we know that they're hungry for their first win, and they have been prepping for this Outlaw squad.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this game, just to see how much Shanghai have actually developed from their previous matches. Now, we've walked around the arena around midnight, and this is one team that practices very, very hard indeed. They're constantly on the grind, 9 a.m. till midnight. This is a team that will be practicing. They will scrim any team, anytime, anywhere.
Sideshow, it's kind of incredible to see a professional team coming in here and putting in 11 hours minimum of practice, even if they played a match that day.
Yeah, it's honestly incredible. And we've already started seeing little developments already. In their previous match, they played on Horizon, and this team looked like they had a set composition ready to go. That was against the San Francisco Shock. They felt like they had a decent structure set up. Undead was having good performances on the Widowmaker. They're starting to put the pieces together. It might be a little slow as they come into the season, but this is one that they have a decent chance of being able to get the upset.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that those players don't lack the individual skill. Like, they have the mechanics, they have what it takes to be a great team. It's really just coming down onto those strategic things and the communication.
All right, we looked at both lineups. Here is a look at the starting lineup here for the Shanghai Dragons. And as we peek both of the starting lineups, so I want to ask you about the adjustments we should expect from both squads coming into this one. Starting with the Houston Outlaws, what adjustments do you want to see from them today?
You know, I think the Houston Outlaws have actually been the team who subbed in and out the most players so far. And that can be great for a team, but that can also be a bit of an issue. Because if you're winning a map and then you're subbing out one of the players, maybe you're actually losing momentum. I did talk to their GM Flame, and he did say that they might have to revisit their subbing strat coming into week number 2.
All right. Look out for the subs on the Houston side. What ad-libs or what adjustments do you want to see from the Shanghai Dragons coming into this one, Brent?
So across the board, Sideshow briefly mentioned the fact that they have had set strategies, particularly in their previous games on Horizon Lunar Colony. I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see them coming out with these set plays. In particular, it seems to be they have difficulty transitioning from the Chinese Overwatch style, which is very much sort of, you know, take it as you go. They just sort of experiment and try and run with things on the fly, whereas the Western approach to Overwatch has always been about set plays, set styles, and I think once they adjust a few more games, we might start to see them having a lot more of an opportunity to sort of shine.
Sideshow, as we were getting ready for this matchup, you were looking at the map list and you said, oh my God, this could actually be problems for Houston. What can Shanghai fans get excited for coming into this match?
Yeah, I think there is a reasonable chance at an upset in this matchup because Shanghai have looked very good on Horizon and Junkertown. Those are going to be our, sorry, Junkertown then Horizon. Those are going to be our first 2 maps. Both of these teams are actually unbeaten on Horizon despite going 0-2 from their preseason games and during the season games. And then Houston Outlaws have really struggled actually on the control point maps. So I feel like Shanghai Dragons, if they're able to utilize some of this individual performance on the control point maps and maybe sneak away 1 or 2 of these early games, perhaps on Horizon with this Undead Widowmaker strategy, they have a decent chance of being able to upset a really strong team here and start off their season with a win.
All right, as we kick off this 12 box, I want to ask you down at the end, Zoe, give me a player to watch from each team.
All right, I think this is going to be Linkser for the Outlaws. He is the one I want to see going off, as he has been proven he can do that time and time again. On the other side, I once more have to say Dia. Dia was a big playmaker for the guys from the Shanghai Dragons.
I like these calls. Those are your players to watch from Zoe, and it's time to send it backstage with our casters one more time for the final match. Monty, Doa, take it away.
That's right, guys. Welcome to the final match of the day. It is the Green Wall versus the Great Wall as Houston Outlaws take on the Shanghai Dragons. Somebody's got to get a win today. Monty, who do you think it's going to be?
I think most of us believe it's going to be the Houston Outlaws, but I do agree with some of the things that the desk said. When it comes to a possible upset, Horizon is the map that they won, the only map they've won this season against San Francisco, and it did look decisive, especially on their attack. They were running the Moira, Sombra, and Tracer strategy that we're seeing more and more on attack on that particular map. And at least for them, they have seen the Outlaws play every map that they're going to be running in this series. So there is data on the Outlaws. Sure. Meanwhile, that can't be said of the Dragons. They have not had a time on some of these maps so far, so it's a little bit of a different situation.
That's true. You know, also on the Shanghai side, I feel like in the last match they played, Undead really started to finally come alive as a DPS player. And that's really, unfortunately, all they've had going for them so far is that Dia's been good, Undead has begun to become good again, but they're going to need more than that, especially against a team like Houston that does kind of have it a lot more put together at this point.
Well, that's true in some ways, but we've seen some sort of baffling player substitutions coming out of the Houston Outlaws, and it doesn't seem like they've been using their roster to its fullest degree. As you say, with Shanghai, one of the encouraging signs was that they started to run Dia more on the Junkrat and other projectile heroes as opposed to being locked into a double sort of long-range hit scan DPS setup.
You know, we had some heart-to-heart about these teams on Watchpoint Preview. You know, we dug deep, we got the issues out, so hopefully now, together, we can all overcome this.
Let the healing begin.
That's right, let the healing begin as Houston Outlaws get ready to take on Shanghai Dragons here on Junkertown. And I would have loved to see Jake play that Mei, but it will be the double sniper again here. Raucus on the Bastion. He has been swapping over to that lately on this map.
Yeah, and it will be a lot of spam coming for Shanghai into the spawn point right away.
There we go. So they're going to come out the right side door, it seems like.
Yeah, they're not going to have the hook to sort of snipe people as they come around the corner. Immediately, though, it will be Linkser falling to Undead. So quick shot there, going to delay them getting on top of the payload. And we'll put the shield on the back.
Right.
And start setting this up for Raucus.
I think more than anyone, Undead is really going to be the player that the Houston Outlaws have to worry about the most, since he seems to be on a pretty sharp upward trajectory. I'll never say that on the broadcast again. And he's been really making his plays count.
Yeah, we saw it right there. They were saving the scatter arrows. Yeah, Linkser.
Forget everything I just said, guys.
Immediately takes out Undead,
Yeah.
but you see the scatter arrows used right after the halt from Orisa, so they're using that to create picks on the tanks rather than having the Roadhog there.
Jake knocked away Dia, getting him with the concussion mine, and Rockets on the back foot, having to back off a bit. Gets a kill onto MG, though. A lot of low health tanks there. But, ooh, that is a dangerous place to be. You cannot stand up against a Junkrat, but he knew he had the res coming through, so I don't think he was too concerned about it. Here comes a Riptire, though. Dia looking for a few kills. Cool Matt tossing out that self-destruct. No kills from it, but he does get back into the mech in time. And maybe, just maybe, they can take down the Orisa here. Yeah, Roshan was, but he got rezzed immediately. Now Raucus coming in with that Bastion ultimate. They need a little bit more. There we go. That is a lot bit more. And that may just be point A here.
Lynx are helping out a lot with some of those picks, but deliberate use of the ultimates by the Houston Outlaws, not committing too many at a time, just one by one, sequentially, and it's finally Raucus with the tank mode that will push them over the top.
You know, most of the time we see the Bastion trying to, nice kill, most of the time we try to see the Bastion saving that ultimate for you somewhere in point B, because without that Bastion ultimate, unless you can rebuild it quickly, it can be kind of tough to push through that point. But let's check out a couple of these shots from Linkser here at the end of that.
Just finding them from behind the boxes, and
that's
they'll
nice.
turn and casually pick off the enemy Widow through the top window after that. Houston Outlaws are getting a long time to set up on the high ground right now. This is, if you get a late stagger like they had on the Orisa, oftentimes we'll see them set up here right at the bridge, and you can see on your screen there is a Bastion behind him, so Rock is just standing up behind that shield.
Oh!
Refill gets in the way of some grenade spam.
Yeah, that's the advantage of getting that big fight win right at the end of point A. You get that time to set up on the high ground.
Wow,
they're putting it to good use.
Actually gonna fall right there, and there's no res because Free Field died, and so still aren't gonna be on cooldown. It's gonna be a decisive win for the Outlaws. They're gonna have no contest here. Coming through on a point B, just nothing at all.
Wow, yeah, just not stopped 1 millimeter on point B are the Houston Outlaws, and they are pretty much crushing Shanghai right now.
Yeah, they are. Can't argue that. Jake gonna see if he can find something here. We'll push back a few of the tanks. He's gonna use his Riptire immediately right at the corner just to get the D-Mech.
It's a valuable D-Mech on MG. I mean, not having that Diva around for a little while will get this payload to even more distance.
Shanghai really struggling to get through some of this grenade spam that we've seen from Jake. Dia will be swapping over to the Tracer. Undead maintaining his position on that Widowmaker, but Jake not giving a sight line.
Nope, you don't need to when your Rockets bouncer on corners like that. Backing away now just a bit. Linkser finds a kill onto Dia again. It's been so oppressive. I mean, the thing is there's no pressure on this guy at all except for Undead. Okay, I'm just gonna stop saying good things about Linkser.
It's all right, Benny's gonna res him, it's fine. He knows he wasn't the one taking the big risk right there. They had killed the Tracer. Tracer was too deep for a resurrection from the Dragons, so it doesn't actually make that big of a difference.
Raucus is the tank mode. Oh, nice shot through the window onto Undead. Chipping away at the tanks a little bit with that one. Roshan getting low, getting taken out. Payload almost there.
Wow, it's amazing to me they haven't had to switch off the Bastion yet, but you only see the swap when there's actual pressure, and there just hasn't been any since basically the first defense on point A.
Nice finishing blow by Linkser there, getting the Mercy right before he got back to spawn, and that healing. And again, Houston just absolutely rocking Shanghai's world. And Freefield comes in with the last-minute transcendence, less than a meter to go. But as soon as they finish him off, there we go. 3:25 left on the clock. A stellar time for Houston.
That looked clinical from Houston. There's just very little resistance put up by the Shanghai Dragons at all.
Yeah.
And every time they started to group up, seemed like a pickoff would occur for Houston. It would force the resurrection early, and then the second pick would come in. And at that point, you're running 5v6 into the members of the Outlaws who still have their resurrection available.
Yeah, another look at the tank mode from Raucus right at the end there. Worked out very well, but that was so clean that if the Houston Outlaws were like real Old West outlaws performing some sort of bank robbery, they would have gotten away with every cent in the place and also the piano that somebody is inevitably playing at in the corner too.
Yeah, that's a damn good time for sure. And we're gonna see if the Shanghai Dragons can match their way through the map again. We have seen very high score lines on Junkertown already in the Overwatch League, so this can be a very attacker-favored map. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that Shanghai could snowball this as well.
Yeah, true enough. And Linkser, despite dying every time I said something positive about him, did have a good round on that Widowmaker too. And in the press conference with after their match against Philadelphia last week, Carpe said the best thing about Linkser is that he plays like a Korean. I mean, that's
high praise.
That is high praise from a Korean pro. One of us.
He has been excellent, and that's why it's been somewhat of a head scratcher when they take him out of this Houston starting roster from time to time. We'll see if they try the same thing again today.
I think if I were a Houston fan, I'd prefer to see him in there more often than not.
I think if I'm casting Houston games, I prefer to see him there more often than not.
It's not about us, Monty. It's about the fan.
No, it's about me.
It's not about you
Always.
all the time. I've told you this for years. You're never going to learn.
It's never made an impression, has it?
No. I'll keep trying.
I'm a lost cause.
Well, Shanghai Dragons, not a lost cause for them quite yet.
Okay, so
as they can get an attack going here. Ooh, but Dia picked off immediately.
Yeah, single support composition too from the Houston Outlaws. So we see Raucus who started the map over on the flank, wanting to try and put some pressure from the side. He's still standing there actually on the side, trying to poke around the edge of the cart. He was hidden now as Coolmat on the right-hand side over to go ahead and help him right now. He's got Freefield sort of bottled up over there. He can't get on the cart because right now, because of the pressure from the side.
Jake is just wrecking everybody at this point with that Junkrat.
It's actually quite cute from Raucus. He was just hiding there for most of the map, waiting for the payload to move forward so he would have an angle to try and fish the Bastion off the back of it.
Yeah.
Instead, he ended up preventing the Bastion from ever getting onto the payload in the first place. So, solid defense.
Oh, wow, you got to watch out for that McCree. That's where things get dangerous.
All right, Undead is now trying to chase off Raucus, who is again back behind that building. You see his outline on the left side of your screen.
Yep. All brings people in. Raucus searching for a hook, doesn't find it. Linkser does go down though. Here come the kills for Shanghai, but Raucus flanking. Maybe he can push him back, and he does go ahead and use that Valkyrie to bring a couple people up again.
Yeah, Undead does manage to take out Jake though, so resurrections have been used for the Houston Outlaws. Now it looks like this will be a successful push.
Yeah, I think so. Starting to go Shanghai's way. Until Linkser gets a couple kills.
I mean, if Linkser's going to get double headshots like that will definitely force them back to the spawn.
I mean, you always got to think about that. You don't kill the Widowmaker. Those headshots might come through. Gets 3 in that fight. And again, Shanghai Dragons sent back to spawn.
And Linkser still opening up opportunities for his team. Finally falls right after getting another kill, but they have to be careful. If they fall back as a unit and they trade evenly, they'll always have that spawn advantage.
Yeah, and Linkser's been going like 3-1 versus Undead as far as these Widowmaker battles go. Coolmat tosses in the mech and he kills. Oh, he gets 2. Undead and Freefield unable to escape. And that's going to be another finished push for Shanghai Dragons. Coolmat narrowly avoiding getting demeched here.
Linkser back in the fight right now, providing some crossfire all the way back to the Shanghai spawn, and it's right back to spamming those doors for Jake. They have their Valkyrie backup already, Altering still working on his.
Wow. Man, Jake nearly up to another Riptire again, down to about 1:15 in the clock for the Shanghai Dragons. They got to get something going now, and Linkser getting another kill on Undead is not going to help that happen.
I mean, Dia's now moved over to the Mei, so this has been an entirely different set of circumstances. They realized at the start of this they weren't going to get the Bastion onto the cart, so now they've tried to just create some pressure and zone people off, maybe for picks with the Mei wall.
Oh, Freefield went for the alt fire on that one, but couldn't get it off in time, and that's another kill for Jake. I mean, another delay for Shanghai.
It's ridiculous how many resurrects have had to be used on Freefield in this series because he's just getting picked off every single time.
It's more like free kill than Freefield at this point.
I mean, some of these aren't his fault. Like, of course, the Riptire coming in. Hard to play Zenyatta in that situation, but...
Sure enough, but you can't dispute the fact that this guy's not living. Speaking of not living, Altering picked up by Coolmat on the side. He was like, Diva Widowmaker there for a second. Oh, hello, triggered. And MG popped out of the mech again. There's a Transcendence, they're gonna go in. Shanghai has to do something, but they're under 10 seconds at this point. MG dies again, and Bonnie just with another smooth Valkyrie. They've got the Supercharger too, so lots of damage done. Mohawk coming in now from Rockets, gets 2 kills with it right off the bat. And OT ticking down, and that will be a crushing win for the Houston Outlaws here on Junkertown.
But doesn't really get more one-sided than that, Doa.
Not really, no.
Basically unopposed attack for the Outlaws and a full hold on their defense.
Yeah, that was about as one-sided as it gets as we start things off here. And you gotta wonder, are things really gonna be too much different than the other maps? Shanghai, of course, did get a win on Lunar Colony the last time out. They did a kind of interesting strategy with that Sombra, so maybe that can work out, but oh, that's just dirty, killing that Riptide. We'll be back with map 2 after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP and by Intel.
Dia, Shanghai Dragon.
There's a name that you need to know when it comes to Shanghai. It is Dia. He's absolutely dominated. You probably saw his clips all over social media of him just plucking heads.
CV 有一种就是能够击杀，就是快速击杀那种，觉得我能担任这个位置，所以说才会找到我。
I'm looking forward to seeing some more highlight-worthy plays from Dia's extremely good Widowmaker.
我是比较在打完比赛，因为很累嘛，然后可能会特别想念中国的，就是食物，特别想念中国的一些 面条啊、饺子之类的，这种主食之类的。
Dia still causing a lot of trouble. The kills coming back around for the Shanghai Dragons.
我觉得我的天赋打 C 应该是最好的。
Well, Dia certainly a bright spot on the Shanghai roster, doing a ton of damage for these guys.
Yeah, and taking a look at the map that Shanghai has won, it will be the one we're going into now, which is Horizon Lunar Colony, where they did execute a full hold against the San Francisco Shock and won on their first attack. And as you can see right there, did 40.5% of his team's hero damage on their only map win, which, to put this in context, like a good stat for a DPS player would be 25 to 28%, so
Sure.
that's pretty well above average. But Doa, there are some caveats.
There is an apostrophe on this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, the reality of that map, if you actually look at the gameplay, is that he was playing Junkrat, and San Francisco was intentionally taking damage on their attack so that they could build up, as you noticed, Doa, their Valkyrie faster during that game. And then when their attack round came, they won on the first push, so there wasn't a lot of time for other people to deal as much damage.
Yeah.
But Dia still, in spite of the caveat to that, did play a good map on Horizon, and he has been, as you say, a bright spot on this roster.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he's been the best performing player on Shanghai Dragons yet so far. Undead, you know, like we mentioned, is starting to pick up a little bit of speed, but it has been kind of Dia trying to wrestle points away despite his team at times.
Yeah, that's true. Although I did like their attack on Horizon, and we'll see if they choose to run it again.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
They're going to be on defense first, and that means that they'll probably run the same defense we saw last week, and it's looking similar with the Widowmaker, the Orisa, and the Junkrat as they prepare to leave their spawn, and they'll run the Ana as well. So what this does is it stands on the high ground outside of the point and spams people from long range.
Right.
And then if somebody dives on top of them, you throw the biotic grenade down and try and turn it around. So we'll see what their positioning is going to be. Houston Outlaws should be very well prepared for this because they saw it before.
Let's see what they decide to go with. We have seen that Sombra strategy on attack a couple times. In fact, we just saw it in our very last match, and it worked out for Sol. The idea is that you hack the big health pack, you get through the point, you hack the little one on the other side, you have those available for your team, get that fast EMP again, and it's hard to avoid the EMP in point A in that little room.
Yeah, they're not going to go for the Moira, which is sort of the other part of this strategy that we've seen Seoul and Shanghai use.
Right.
Instead, they will go ahead and stick to a single support, so interesting that they going to be running the Widowmaker with this, but they'll try and basically what they're going to do is they're going to try and back cap, so they're going to force them back down to the point, and then they're going to have an open sight line through the map onto the point for Linkser on the Widowmaker to shoot people.
Well, that's the hope anyway. Either way, they've got Shanghai off the high ground, so now they have to capitalize on it.
Yep.
Reveal, ooh, doesn't hit that sleep dart.
Rocket's already with the EMP. This is the point you want to watch. You're going to go in now.
Yeah, that's right. Now's the time. Rocket's trying to get in there. Needs to get closer. There's the EMP. Got a couple people through the door. Don't know if he quite caught everybody. Cool Matt does get the kill onto Dia, though. Good start, though. They got to finish off Altering, though. They got to get that Mercy out of the way. Cool Matt does get the kill onto Altering.
MG was hacked there. They saw the tanks, though. The tanks haven't gone down, which is somewhat of a problem. And now they have a nano boost.
Interesting.
That's been used onto Roshan. Actually, yeah, that is a nano boosted Orisa right there.
He's the only one left. He gets a kill onto Jake, though, and he's holding strong for the moment. Muma in there. They finally take down Roshan, and that should be about it. Shanghai Dragons, they don't, at this point, look like they're going to try to do any sort of last-second defense on point A.
Yeah, the question is, are they going to keep Rockets on the Sombra here because he is somewhat close to another EMP and won't take them much more time to pick it up?
Yeah. Pretty fast point A take.
Yeah, I like Jake switching over to the Soldier 76 right now. It's traditionally been one of his best heroes. He has struggled at playing heroes that are not called Junkrat so far in Overwatch League.
But you remember the performance he put on this map at the Overwatch World Cup last year, though. I mean, this guy's got some good history on the map. Raucus finishing off Dia. Good way to start this push here for Houston Outlaws. They decide not to contest Jake too much on the high ground. He's kind of got that covered for the moment. Here comes the Riptire, though. Self-destruct coming through. Jake can't get out of the way, and Manny got caught.
That was a bit of an unfortunate time. He was trying to get behind that pillar, but barely didn't get outside of that line of sight. So Bandy gonna die with the Valkyrie. That will end the attack here.
That's right. Still got a lot of people hanging out on the outside. I love that through these pushes, Linkster's just like, I'm just gonna sit back here and shoot heads. You guys do your thing. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I think he is going to have to switch off eventually. Whether he's going to trade off to the Tracer or not, I don't know, but it would be nice to have something else besides the Widow on this point. You do have basically one very obvious sightline right here, and there are a lot of pillars that can get in the way.
Yeah, the shots aren't quite as clean for point B. Doesn't mean we haven't seen Widows do well, it's just a little bit tougher. Undead does get the kill on the Cool Mat here.
Wow, they're going for this, so Valkyrie going to be used, and they're going to bring back Cool Mat and his mech immediately.
All right, the Diva comes back. Jake down the bottom, pops attack visor, and just to get one kill, Linkster picks off Undead. Jake coming around the side now. Transcendence for Houston to try to keep everybody alive for the moment. Can they grind it out? Undead so low, finally gets the healing he needs. Oh, but it's not enough. Jake with another kill there, and now Valkyrie from altering, bringing people back again. Jake somehow survives that flashbang as Undead picked off, and they may actually have a chance here to get some real progress on the control meter.
Yeah, as long as they can get through the primal raging Winston, a lot of people still coming back up. Dia will be rejoining the fray.
Oh!
He will die immediately, but there's at least one tick coming up here for the Outlaws.
Now Raka's brought back
another attack visor.
He already has another attack visor. That is crazy. Putting it to great use too. DMECing MG right away. They gotta watch out for that self-destruct.
Jake's had no pressure on him basically the entire time, and a lot of tanks to work down the HP, and they'll finish it with 409.
Well, that was a shooting gallery for Jake.
Yeah,
man.
it was.
I mean, nobody was really trying to touch him. Undead advanced a couple times, but got picked off right away by Cool Mat. So just really good protection of Jake by Cool Mat, especially, and the rest of the team to set up that point take.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest start to that. Jake spent a lot of time running around with the first attack visor, trying to find Dia. Instead of being more aggressive and opening onto the point itself, but it didn't end up mattering. Rest of his teammates there to go ahead and clean it up, and it's just a little bit of janitorial work with attack visor at the end.
True enough. Is there anything Jake can't do? He can even be the janitor.
He can even be the
Lunar
janitor.
Colony, yep.
I hope that he can start expanding his hero pool back to what we've seen it in the past.
Yeah.
Because again, his Pharah has been a little bit rough, but his Junkrat and his Soldier remain pretty on point.
Absolutely. So Houston having to be feeling pretty good coming into their defensive round on Horizon Lunar Colony, and now we'll see if Shanghai is going to go with that same strat that worked so well for them in their last match. From our screen, it looks like they will.
Yeah, so this strategy is with a Lucio, and you have the two tanks of Diva and Winston, and you run with a highly mobile trio of Moira, Sombra, and Tracer. And the idea is that if they're running, the defense is running a less mobile composition like we see here with the Orisa, and they want to set up, it becomes problematic. So the idea, if you set up on the high ground, then they're going to start back capping and you have to go back down.
Yeah.
If they set up on the point, well, the mobile trio, you'll see the Moira and the Tracer head around the side and the Sombra hack the packs on either side, and then you just end up sort of getting poked, and you hope that you take damage if you're Shanghai, so you can build up that EMP, and then you hit a 5 or 6 man EMP on the point itself.
Well,
so
that's the plan. Shanghai charging out of spawn. They want to try to set a good time and keep themselves alive in this series.
So the last time we saw Shanghai do this, so they're going to move everybody through, hack the Mega health pack immediately, and you'll notice that this is a point defense here by the Outlaws. So just about poking right now and trying to get the EMP up. They're going to slowly make their way over to the other side and sort of create a pincer attack, but that's not going to work because Linkster manages to find Undead, and they know exactly what's going on. Obviously, they've reviewed the tape, so the McCree and Junkrat are great picks to get the pickoffs when you know they're going to be trying to come around on one side with some relatively squishy heroes.
So a reset from Shanghai Dragons. They're going to try this one again.
Yeah, you know they're going to come around back to the other side, too.
Yeah.
So you're confident that you want to put most of it onto the side, opposite side where the mini health pack is, and you'll notice that's where they're falling back. They're not, right now the Outlaws are not giving the Dragons a chance to catch them in a flank attack.
Yeah, let's push back again. Here comes the Riptire. Jake See if you can find a couple victims. There's one.
Well, found it eventually. Tried to fade out, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, just heads up play by Jake to wait for that fade. You know Moira's going to try to avoid that stuff.
Jake is hacked right now, though, so he's not going to be able to escape, and that's going to mean Banny has to pull out the Resurrection on 2 DPS players immediately.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and commit the Valkyrie to this. First tick taken, though, by Shanghai. They need to get back on the point. Cool Matt has that self-destruct. I don't think he's going to need it this time, though.
And that, you used your EMP, and they still managed to get the Valkyrie and the double res off, so Undead may be looking for a change of hero right now, or they can try and wait. And EMP again in combination with their sound barrier.
They didn't build the EMP super fast, though, honestly.
Well,
It's a little bit slower than I thought it would be.
That's because Houston was playing defensively, so they weren't poking out, and they weren't allowing them to hack the mini health back on the other side. So you know that you don't want to do spam damage in this circumstance because you're only empowering the EMP.
If they can get that EMP, though, in a situation where Raucus is the only support with the ultimate, that Zenyatta can be abusable. They're going in now. Linkser looking for targets. There's that self-destruct. Freefield does fade out of it. But there's the chase from Linkser. Gets the kill, just fans the hammer for it, but it doesn't matter. Shanghai Dragons taking firm control of point A.
Very difficult to deal with if you don't have the Resurrection, if they're just going to charge the point like that with the self-destruct, but still decent amount of time taken off the clock right now. Shanghai only has a minute to match the time of the Houston Outlaws, but it was a pretty big investment. They are going to have to swap heroes right now. Freefield is staying on the Moira.
Interesting. I mean, not a hero that we've seen do quite as well in point B.
Okay,
You generally want, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. The reason is because you generally want a narrower space for Moira to bounce those biotic orbs around in. And there's a lot of open space on point B, but you know it's good with open space, Monty?
Widowmaker?
Widowmaker, but also Diva ultimates, which MG saved through their fight on point A. So they do have that tool for some point in the future.
And they are Undead. A couple of shots in, but he does need to back off before he finds himself in that corridor. Dia providing a little bit of cover.
Oh, sneaky McCree coming around the side. We can see him through the wall. Now Linkser, though, Undead not going to give him an opportunity. Oh, look out! Banny taken down. Undead popping up where they didn't expect him. And that's going to be an opportunity for Shanghai to get in on this point. Linkser getting a couple kills, though. Actually, the Mercy going down the Shanghai side. And now Linkser just decided to take this fight into his own hands and deliver Houston Outlaws back to a stable defense.
That's right, with altering falling, no more healing left on the point. Freefield goes down as well. So they are going to change now. I think this is smart. Undead moves over to the Junkrat. And they are going to be looking to pick somebody off right as this starts.
Yep.
Well, Houston Outlaws are just sticking with the composition that they've had this entire time. I like what we're seeing from them. You might as well attempt to pick off Dia with a trap or okay, like that.
Wow, all right. Or you might just pick off 2 members of the team at once.
Yep, just keep on spamming through that upper doorway as the Junkrat. This trap getting destroyed, so I'll throw a bomb down there just to try for a little bit of follow-up.
It's not just about the spam, too. It's about where you put the spam. And he's putting it in all the right places, all the right angles.
Personally, I despise spam, so I don't like it anywhere. Not in the game, just in terms of eating.
There's a lot of spam when we were in Korea.
That's
man.
terrible.
Put spam in everything.
Undead now on the Soldier 76, so again an alteration to their style of play.
Denied. That Riptire not doing anything. Cool Matt, meanwhile, getting barely D-backed. Whoa,
Wow.
that was close.
So incredibly close to getting D-backed, but instead he gets some, just a huge amount of Mercy ult charge.
Uh-oh.
Handed off, and that'll be Banny with a Valkyrie waiting.
Yep. The Wrath of Pilot Diva is Cool Matt. Manages to pick off altering. It's like, I want my mech.
Try to get his mech back.
Yeah.
Trying to just peeking through the narrowest of corridors to get another 25% or so, and
getting
he'll be
close.
back soon.
Well, without the Widow on the Shanghai side, you can be a bit more bold with the peeking from Cool Matt, but now you just wait. The rebuild's fast. He's going to have his mech in just a second. Yep, there we go. Got it now. Dia came in for a kill. Couldn't quite find it on Cool Matt.
It's interesting to me that Shanghai keeps trying for this low ground approach when they have the Soldier 76, but I guess they're so scared of the Junkrat on the columns above.
Oh,
they're not even willing to take the high ground. So, but that's really not using Soldier to his greatest potential.
Another shooting gallery for Linksu here. There we go. Jake finds a kill onto Undead. Altering brings it back. He's going to use that Valkyrie. But Coolman immediately there to destroy Pre-Feel. And that is a huge support ult that Shanghai is going to get nothing from.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. They're going to have to use that Transcendence simply to approach the point right now.
Yeah.
Undead nearly has his tactical visor, but it's taken him so long. They just don't have a solution for getting through the Junkrat grenades in this upper window to give Soldier an open line of fire.
Pretty much. Outlaws with a wealth of ultimates right now too. All they need is a little bit of efficiency and they should be able to survive this next minute. Shanghai's got quite a bit, but they lose Dia as they come in. Uma diving deep. That kill onto Dia though helps so much. And a Primal Rage for Roshan, and again, nothing really being gained from it. MG demeched, de-lifed. And Houston has pushed Shanghai down to just 40 seconds left. And they've nearly got 6 ultimates. Jake's gonna be able to build that Riptire fast.
They've conserved all of their ultimates on these pushes. And Altering still struggling to get back up to 100%. Which is definitely what they need to combat this. Maybe if they can come in with a strong push and get him some healing based off of the Junkrat damage, they will be able to do this. But
Are you
Undead,
kidding me? Jake is just untouchable up there. Oh, and he finds Altering. It's a trap. Baited him in for the res, and that was the kill. Roshan taken down by the self-destruct, and Houston Outlaws just destroying Shanghai again.
well, Jake was 2 steps ahead right there, and maybe that's why they wanted to take the Soldier on the low ground, because they're just going to get ticked down in overtime here, and that will be another win for Houston.
Wow. Houston Outlaws jumping out to 2-0 in this series, and it really couldn't look much more convincing than it has so far.
I agree with you, Doa. It's been very one-sided up until this half.
That's right. Well, Shanghai, they're going to need to dig really deep. They're going to need to come up with something that we have never seen before in teams that play from their supports, I think, primarily. Team coordination. It's a 2-0 for Houston, and Shanghai with a mountain to climb as we look ahead towards map number 3. This was all Houston, all map.
I mean, they've seen the strategy from Shanghai before on Horizon. They had a very good read on it this time around.
Oh, it's brutal. Oh, back in a bit, guys. Halftime coming up.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP.
It's been all Houston at halftime. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, here for the halftime show, and we're joined once again. It's Brendan's Sideshow to walk us through what's happened so far in this matchup. Junkertown, I tweeted it out. It was like a slow steamroll coming in from the Houston Outlaws.
It wasn't even that slow as well.
Shanghai really didn't have any solution for what the Houston Outlaws were bringing to the table. So as we take a look at the general highlights here, let's walk the audience through some of the issues that we saw for Shanghai and what was working for the Outlaws.
Yeah, look, Shanghai has a strategy coming into this, and they actually managed to hold them a little bit on point A. But as soon as they got this first defense out of the way, the Houston Outlaws kept it rolling. Raucus did not have to switch off this Bastion for basically the entire time. Shanghai, I think, kind of won half a fight towards the end of the map. But as soon as Houston got that single pick, Shanghai didn't have the coordination to be able to rebuild and form a defense at any of the rest of the points.
Across the board, I gotta say, a big part of the reasoning why Shanghai didn't get as far as they did was probably going to be Linkser, in my opinion, on the Widowmaker. He didn't switch off it for the entire map for good reasoning, because he was popping off all day long. Undead was uncontested against him. In fact, Undead was pretty much being put completely in check by him the entire game.
Yeah, we looked at some of the numbers during the commercial break, and it said Undead, 66% scoped accuracy.
Yeah.
But then we looked at his kills and deaths. He was 5 elims to the 9 deaths, simply getting shut down. Linkser, a man on fire, and a player that we highlighted coming into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, crit accuracy right there is the one that I want to highlight, alongside, obviously, his absolutely massive eliminations and only 5 deaths. But the crit accuracy, when you get above 20% crit accuracy, you're actually doing incredibly well. And the fact that he didn't switch off it the entire game, and that was pretty much his entire performance throughout the entire game, wasn't just a short little sweep of where he dominated Shanghai. It's very impressive to me, at least, and it shows that Linkser is definitely, I mean, we mentioned previously about the snipers in the game. Who are the top snipers in the Overwatch League? Linkser being one of them.
All right, we're not going to read too much into that Junkertown because it was one-sided. Let's take it to Horizon, though, because we saw some unique strategies being employed, and as we take a look at the highlights, there was one man that really shined in this game. Jake was going off not only on the Soldier, but the Junkrat once again.
Yeah, he was, and this map plays, and Junkertown as well, they both play perfectly into his wheelhouse in terms of the heroes that he can play. He's excellent at the Junkrat. We saw him with a huge amount of damage being poured out and areas completely locked off, and then he's able to play Soldier here on the attack as Outlaws put the Dragons to bed. But it was also the strategy. We came into this saying that Dragons had a plan. They knew how to defend. They'd even full-held San Francisco Shock. But the Outlaws have seen the game tape. They cracked it open within seconds. They were able to take that one incredibly quickly.
Yeah. And when we watched this, Bren, we heard the commentators mention there's almost no pressure ever on the back line. How do you stop Jake from going off in the future?
You just sort of prioritize him, I suppose. That Jake, his weakness and his biggest strength as well, kind of like a double-edged sword, is the fact that he does like to micromanage a lot of these players, right? He likes to get the commands out. He likes to sort of command where his team's going to be with his calls. If you focus down Jake, he's not the type of player to sort of be quite emotional and stop calling and whatnot, so it doesn't help too much. But Jake was a problem that match, and they didn't really have the means to try and focus him down. You saw him on the Junkrat, right, on Horizon the last. He was just staying up top. Nobody could bring him down off his perch. He was just slamming down the explosives time and time again, and Shanghai kept running into it with the exact same approach, never really changing anything up.
Sideshow for Shanghai Dragons. Last time we watched them, they were playing against the San Francisco Shock, and there was one player, Shishu, who actually had a pretty decent game. That player is normally on the Pharah as well as the Diva. Today, they're running Roshan and MG for the first 2 games. Do you swap things up if you're Shanghai, knowing you're now 0-2?
It's hard to tell, really, because Shanghai Dragons have so many problems, actually, with how they're coordinating their teamwork going into this. It's true that Sheshu did have some big performances previously when they played on Junkertown, able to come up with some big Diva bombs as well. MG and Roshan seem like they're out of coordination in a lot of these situations. I'm not sure whether putting Shishu back in would solve anything and give them a better shot, but at this point, it's worth a try because they're getting outclassed by Houston.
The one thing we constantly mentioned here at the desk was altering is dead. Their Mercy is once again picked. This is the plan for Houston Outlaws, but if you're Shanghai, how do you protect this key player in the next game?
So that was the one thing that we mentioned that Zushu was actually doing quite well, was peeling for the Mercy, was peeling for his supports quite often, a lot of the times in the previous matches, which is why we had a few question marks coming into this as to why MG was in. If they just tighten up their tank play a little bit, I mean, it's just one sort of solution to a whole host of problems that they do actually have. However, it's the first thing they need to do if they want to stop getting rolled so much.
All right, that's going to do it for our halftime coverage so far. 2 games in, Houston Outlaws is on match point. They could lock up the series with a big win as we go to Control next, but Houston is 0-2 in this game type. We'll see if they can get their first big win here in Week 2. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
The Overwatch League represents a different direction than esports have taken in the past. A global community of professionals for a truly global league.
Oh boy, here we are, guys. Houston Outlaws up 2-0 over the Shanghai Dragons, and it has not exactly been close.
No, it hasn't been. We've had 2 maps about as one-sided as maps can get.
True.
Of course, no full hold, but we did expect a little bit more from Shanghai on Horizon.
Hey, it's Boink subbing in for Bonnie, as you can see, making a switcheroo in the support category. Hello, Boink.
Which probably means we're seeing Lucio if Boink is going to be in this roster, especially because we are on Oasis, the control map, where we tend to see more Lucio play overall.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I personally love Lucio on Ilios more because there's a lot of opportunities to knock people off the map, but strategically, they can go either way on Oasis.
We'll see how it goes.
I like a bit of both.
Jake has struggled on Pharah on this map when they went up against the Philadelphia Fusion. And we have yet to see the Shanghai Dragons play on Oasis as we switch over our maps right there.
That's right. I do love the lunar colony effect in our stadium, though. It looks pretty awesome. As does the Oasis one, but I like being in the stars. I want to walk up and look through the telescope and see what I can find.
Do you do that every time you play on Horizon Doa?
No, I don't, but I should.
So how are you going to hear all of the voice lines from the characters as they look through the telescope?
I will just ask you, because you know every voice line in Overwatch, don't you?
I definitely do
You're
not.
an expert.
I am not a voice line or lore expert.
I was going to say, you really love the lore.
Yes, I spend a lot of time with the lore.
Did you know that the first Widow that Widowmaker made was herself?
Really?
That's right, because
Wow.
Talon turned her into an evil, heartless assassin person. And then she assassinated her own husband. Whoa, that's dark.
See, I don't even
But
know
it's
if
true.
you're telling the truth right now, though. I feel like half
I
the
think
time
so.
you tell me lore, I just think you're trolling me.
I think so. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I did read that. That's right, on an official source. Well, here we are. We're already into it. On Gardens here, Houston Outlaws in the away jersey, Shanghai Dragons in the red as the tussle over the Garden begins. And Undead and Dia going for the double hit scan. They really want to shut down Jake on this Pharah.
Yeah, the problem is if you don't have the high ground, the Pharah's always going to have better angles to rain the rockets in. And there's Linkser just cleaning up after a couple of rocket hits, and they are all bottled up right now outside of the point, and that's going to be another death. Dia, and now Jake wants this D-Mac. Great shot.
No kidding, that is rough too, man, because now you just have that D-Mech Diva. MG gonna have to go back, swap heroes to get his mech back again, and that's tough.
All right, Dia's going to roll the dice now. Wasn't confident on the Pharah to start off, but this is the biggest and most important Pharah point on Oasis.
Yeah.
Very hard to play those long-range hit scans as a counter simply because the point itself is rather small. There's a high ground within it for Pharah to hide behind, and there's so much verticality in the point. So Pharah extremely good here, and we rarely see teams attempt to not run one.
Well, they're kind of camping Linkser a little bit more now. They go and throw in the self-destruct. There we go. Free Field finally finds him, and now they're without their Linkser. Dia a little bit low. One more shot would do it, but Jake has to reload. Here comes Attack Visor now. Got a dodge at Clumat taken out. Oh, no fear from Jake as he just barrages into the ulting Soldier. Killed off anyway, but hey, it was bold.
It was, unfortunately, right into the Transcendence and the defense matrix from the Diva. Linkser's still alive, still going to get a stick, but is there going to be a finishing blow? No, with the Primal Rage.
Well, there is going to be a finishing blow, but it's on Linkser instead of on Roshan, so that's not what he was hoping for there.
Yeah, Altering saved his Valkyrie for the end of this fight.
That's right.
So eventually he should be able to come through with a cap here for Shanghai, and indeed now will be the time that they flip it over and start building up that percent.
Yeah. So if you're Houston, do you stick with the Pharah? Looks like they will.
Yeah, I think regardless, you stick with the Pharah. Right now, it's really difficult to play without one here on Gardens. You can get away with it on City Center. You can definitely get away without using it on Oasis.
That's tough.
Or on
Cool Matt getting in there.
University.
That's right, nice save by MG to protect his Soldier there. Now Cool Matt having to be protected himself. They get the D-Mech onto MG. Good start. Coming in for Houston. They lose Jake, though. Can they get the res in at the time? At the right time, Cool Matt has to pop that self-destruct to stay alive. And Linkser on the outside of the fight. Shanghai, ooh, they lose Roshan. That could be bad, but Boink falls on the other side of the fight. There's the kill onto Dia. So Linkser putting matters into his own hand. Nice stick onto Free Field. Turns away, and there's a quick D-Mac onto MG, courtesy of Jake, and that's going to be a point back in the favor of Houston.
Credit to Linkser for turning a fight around that Houston Outlaws struggled with right out of the get-go, but a casual flick of the pulse bomb over onto Free Field and then turning on to the next target. Yields an opportunity. Jake actually was hiding there, as you can see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa, they found him.
All right, well, Orb of Destruction will help out with that one.
Certainly will. Can't bring him up, it looks like. No res coming in just yet. Transcendence used over on the side for free feel. And Rock is kind of on his own there. Okay, wow, he's going to use it to keep Cool Matt up. Last chance for Houston to hold this point, and Muma gets 2 with that Primal Rage. I think when they were drawn over to the edge,
got baited
he
so
capitalized on it.
hard.
That was smooth. Boink with a couple reses, courtesy of the Valkyrie, and we're into OT already. Valkyrie comes in now for Shanghai Dragons, but there's just too many people to bring back for the team in red.
That was so smooth by the Outlaws, and by Muma in particular. They baited them over to the edge, knowing that they had Transcendence, and once they got rushed, it was Muma slapping people off the edge of the map with the Primal Rage. Well-constructed play from the Outlaws.
Wow, Raucus's hair is particularly fabulous today, I have to say.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah, wow. It's impressive.
That'll be 1-0 to the Outlaws here. We are going to be going to University for our second point. And
Look at that.
Wow, he's got such an epic wave.
Yeah, anime is real.
Certainly would appear that way.
I believe now. I believe you, Mendo.
You believe that anime is real?
I do now.
That's what Mendo's been doing. Hasn't been playing on stage. He's been busy making anime real for all of us, Noah.
Do you think he did Raucus's hair? It's possible. Here we go, Houston Outlaws with a nice little lead here on Oasis going into University. They're gonna put Jake back on the Junkrat. A hero he's done quite well on in the recent past. Shanghai fighting for their lives. A loss on this map would mean a loss in the series, and it would mean they will be 0-3 in the first 3 matches here on Overwatch League.
Undead building up quite a bit of ult's charge by punishing some of the early tank attack from the Houston Outlaws, but Jake will drop a mine right on his head.
Yeah, out-triggered. Roshan trapped in it, had the shield he needed, but he went down anyway. Jake with a couple, and there's finally the revenge coming in. No, that was Dia, actually. Wrong Junkrat. It's just going to be a big win for Houston Outlaws as they chase Shanghai nearly back to spawn.
Yeah, finding Undead at the very end as well. Cool Matt's still in that mini Devo form, so trying to get his mech back with the bunny blasters you can see heading towards their spawn. Nearly up to 100% again, so should have it in time for the next fight. Not an opening that the Dragons are going to be able to abuse.
Oh, MG. One shot by that tire, or close to it. It was enough either way. Roshan falls immediately. How in the world? See, this is the thing with Shanghai, right? There is no other team in the league where you see the tanks die that early and that often.
Well, also the supports, unfortunately, again, altering nearly just got one shot there by Jake playing really aggressively towards their spawn.
Yeah. I mean, you see the tanks die like that too, and I'm not totally convinced that's the tank's fault.
I think it's not. I think the biggest problem with this Shanghai roster is their supports right now.
Agreed.
Because we've seen some nice flashes of skill from Roshan, particularly in the preseason. So if he can stay alive for long enough.
Oh, Undead with 1 kill on Raucus. Boink brings him back immediately. Cool Matt, again, just barely avoiding being demeched. Was down to 16 health. Back up to full again, though. And here's the ultimate. Is he going to toss it in there? There's a Transcendence. You gotta wait now. Oh, never mind. He's gonna throw it in. Oh, but right in the Deadeye. Undead with the kill on the Cool Matt there.
And this will probably be where Shanghai is able to push up. Jake wants to pick up a kill. Can he get free feel? He will find him, but Altering has the Valkyrie and will res him immediately.
There we go. Linkser and Boink falling as well. So it looks like Shanghai will be able to flip the point and finally get some percent building. But if you're the Houston Outlaws right now, you're sitting at 89%. You are not worried.
Yeah, you always make it come back here, although they did commit quite a few ults to that, so we're going to see things pretty even when it comes to that ult economy. So Shanghai may be able to hold out here till 100.
We'll see. Could see it being 99-99.
Take a couple of quick pushes. Undead will find Jake, but
Raucus falls.
Yeah, not in a position where he can actually resurrect either. Boink tries to fly over and gets punished for it during his resurrection animation. So
Undead has been pretty quiet all match long, but now coming out of that fight with 3 kills, starting to carry a little bit here for Shanghai.
Yeah, he basically shut that down all by himself.
Yep.
getting the first kill and then baiting the Mercy in.
But for Houston, you know, again, that's what we'd call an economy pusher, right? That's a push where you're just trying to do okay, trying to build up some ult charge. Didn't go that well for them that time around, but they weren't planning on taking the point.
I knew they were going to have some troubling. Altering is going to die immediately. Muma just gets on top of him.
Man, Muma just deciding to take matters into his own big furry paws. Taken out by Undead in the end. They do have that supercharger. That's a lot of damage on that McCree right now. And there's a Deadeye. It's Shanghai Noon, but no, nobody finds it. Or nobody gets caught by it, rather.
That first kill from Muma was an absolute disaster for Shanghai. They lost their Valkyrie. They lost their Mercy player. Nothing happened.
Well, nobody could really get back on the point and stop Houston from flipping it. So OT is ticking away. Jake, no kills on that, but it doesn't matter. Houston will go ahead and take Oasis, and they will win this series. That's 3 maps. We're going to play the last one, of course, for points. Map score does matter when we look down the line to playoffs, but Houston already crushing this series.
That was a great read by Muma. I'm really impressed. It was almost like basically a solo kill onto the support. Not only forced the Valk out, but then completed the kill immediately afterwards.
True enough. Well, you know, a little bit of more of the same from what we've seen this series already. Shanghai showing a little bit of life towards the end there, courtesy of Undead. But once again, on Oasis, it was all Houston all the time. They are up 3-0 in this series. Map 4 coming up just after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel and Omen by HP.
I'm now joined by Boink from the Houston Outlaws. Boink, thanks so much for joining me down here for a quick word. Now, before today, your team was winless on control maps. Who do you credit for the victory on Oasis just now?
Definitely Muma. He definitely stepped his game up. He's worked on his engages. We worked on the team, how we want to focus on engaging. And it made a big difference in our play. I've been able to heal him more. We've been able to go in more. And as a result, we're winning more.
All right, well, it seemed to really pay off. Muma has been going ham on that map just now, like tossing the enemy team off the edge right there. Very nice to watch your play of the game right there. Now, what do you guys think you need to do to actually pull off the sweep?
We just need to keep playing our game, do our normal stuff. We've worked a lot this last week on what we want to do and what we want to accomplish, and that's shown a lot in our results. Just keep playing our game, we'll be as strong as ever.
All right, well, best of luck to you and your team. With that, let's see if Shanghai can bring it back or not. Back to our casters, Monty and Doa.
Hey, well, I would say mission accomplished so far. So Houston Outlaws have looked fantastic in this match so far, really taking it to Shanghai. And as we go into the last map, yeah, I don't even know what to ask you at this point. Like, what do you say analytically? I mean, Houston just outclassing Shanghai in every single way, but at least, Monte Cristo, we have a substitution to talk about. Boink down on the floor, so naturally, that would mean Bonnie back in up at the player table? Chair? Player stage? You could say? I'm used to saying booth, Monte Cristo. This is something new for me, all right? Bonnie back in. That's the point we're trying to make here, Oasis. A quick 2-0 for the Outlaws, and now we will go to Numbani, our hybrid map, and the final map of this series, end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we last saw the Outlaws play on Numbani, it was Clockwork and Jake playing together. So there was no Linkser on Numbani, and so they did play some interesting Pharah Soldier with Jake on the Pharah and Clockwork on the Soldier on defense.
Okay.
On Numbani, but we'll see if they do the same thing this time, except with Linkser, so preferring a lot of long-range damage.
True enough.
And they tried to play the Soldier and Tracer as well, so might see some different setups now that Linkser's in, maybe running the McCree as he's hovered over right now on the attacking side, and we are going to have Shanghai defending first as the home team.
Yeah. Houston will be on the attack as they have all match long. I want to visit the Numbani Heritage Museum. I like visiting.
I don't know. Seems pretty dangerous to me, Doa.
Yeah,
when firefights break out in the middle of the museum.
No, I would go in the other entrance.
Can we talk about how they put a super weapon on display in their museum?
Hey, they had it in glass. Is that not good enough for you? There was glass, and there was clearly an alarm too. So.
Because once somebody got their hands on the Doomfist, it seemed like it was pretty easy to escape with it. So.
See, the thing is you build this with regular criminals in mind. You don't know talent is coming back, right? That's why you gotta recall Overwatch. It sets a whole story up. The improper storage of Doomfist Gauntlet is the impetus for this entire
seems like
game.
A terrible idea to begin with, honestly.
There you go.
Why are they just not deactivate it, destroy it? I don't know. They just leave it in there.
Just take the batteries out, guys. Just take the batteries out before you put it.
Damn it, Numbani Heritage Museum.
I'm never going to the Numbani Heritage Museum. Too dangerous. I guess the fist is already gone though, so maybe it's safer now. I don't know. Who knows what else they've got in there? The dive coming in from Houston already. What? Roshan just deleted instantly. That's how you start a good attack.
Yeah, they're trying to use the McCree and the Soldier once again to deal with the Pharah on attack, but
Undead
instead,
is plain dead at
this
point.
Roshan finds himself out of position. No healing as his supports were on the other side of the map. No way for the Mercy to resurrect him, and that's going to be a lightning fast take here for the Outlaws on Numbani A.
Well, the Shanghai Dragons, if they're smart, they're going to stop by the museum right now and try to find some super weapons in there, because I hate to say it, but I think they could use them right about now.
Maybe they'll find Doomfist for the defense, Doa.
A Doomfist for everyone.
A Doomfist for all.
There you go. Like it's a Christmas miracle.
Well, Jake swapping off the Pharah right now, not too terribly effective on points B and C here on Numbani.
Yeah.
Instead opting for that attack visor to really easily clear people out. I mean, We can talk about Roshan, but I mean, the main problem is he's going in, and sometimes MG isn't there with him.
Yeah.
And all of the time, he's not getting healed.
Yeah.
So whether that's a problem with Roshan going in too early or the rest of his team being too timid to follow him up, but you know, you just can't hard engage when you're running a Soldier and a McCree, right? You're not going to be diving in there because there's no DPS coming in after you. There's no Tracer to harass the back line. You sort of just stand there, and the rest of your team's simply poking. So it's when you're running these long-range DPS, you can't have your Winston play that way, and arguably you shouldn't play Winston at all.
Yeah. Roshan down, and T-minus. I didn't even get to finish my sentence. He's already dead. Brought back up again by Altering, and now it's a tactical visor battle, and that's one that Jake is going to win. Coolmat with the cool 2K on the self-destruct as well, and the payload has not yet been slowed down.
Yeah, you'll notice the difference as the teams play similar compositions, as Coolmat and Muma are playing much more defensively and allowing their DPS to set up on the high ground. As we check this out right now, Altering trying to get the resurrection, does manage to onto Roshan, but unfortunately, it also doesn't give him time nor a target to glide to.
That's just such a good angle to throw the Diva ultimate in. I mean, you can catch people both ways on attack and defense, because if you're in that hallway, there's really no way to run. So that's a place where if you think the other Diva has ultimate, you really got to be careful.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and Roshan now going to be moving towards the Orisa and just trying to create some pressure onto the point right now. That's going to be a flying Orisa right back into the team. Raucus finishes off the kill.
Roshan.
And, oh my, Muma, please.
Roshan has died first in every fight in this round. No joke, and that's it. It's going to be 4:48 on the clock. Houston Outlaws, I mean, what do you call it? Domination, destruction, crushing. Think of any adjective you could possibly apply to somebody destroying somebody else. That's what Houston has been doing to Shanghai this match.
This is just brutal to watch.
It's crazy. It's crazy. This is the most one-sided match we've had in Overwatch League.
I can't say that I argue with you, Doa, unfortunately. And we'll see what happens now with the Outlaws on defense. And I think that, especially with Shanghai struggling so much in the early days of Overwatch League, coming off those first 3 maps, knowing that this one doesn't give them a chance to come back into this match at all.
True.
It's probably pretty tough for these guys not to be mentally defeated at this stage.
You can certainly understand that. It has been tough going for these guys so far. That is for sure.
I think, though, based on what the desk said, you do have to admire that they're not just sitting back and taking these losses. It's a long season. They have a lot of time to practice and improve. They are going to be in the best space to improve in the world with all these teams playing and practicing here out of the Burbank studios and the Blizzard Arena. So
yeah, you'd think so. I think that's what makes kind of what's going on here that much more surprising, because we don't expect in this environment for a team to have such a rough start.
Well, and especially not for a long time, right? It's cliche to say, but as arguably the bottom team in this league, it's much easier to improve than being the top team, because you can learn from basically everybody in that scenario, and with enough practice, you will be able to close that gap. Staying on top, much more difficult, because whenever you scrim an opponent, you're giving up information.
True enough. Houston Outlaws on the defense now. Raucus over on the Ana this time around. Something we see quite a bit on this map. Something I'm sure Raucus is happy to get a chance to play once in a while. Jake on the Soldier, as he has been so good with that, especially today. He's looked much better on the Soldier than we've seen him in recent matches.
Yeah, I am encouraged by the fact that Dia is moving out more onto projectile heroes. We had that question in the preseason and coming into the regular season as well, whether they were going to adapt, and Dia certainly trying to expand his hero pool to make Shanghai Dragons team compositions less predictable and more competitive.
True enough. Undead looking for those shots. People exposed on the other side, but oh, here comes Coolmat to take him down. Lynx are coming in to finish him off. Prefeel caught in the crossfire as well, and Dia low on the outside. Looks like he may just reset here. Yep. That'll be it. Linkser will help him on his way.
Yeah, Linkser with the casual 4K to start off that engagement. Couple members will make it back and escape the pistols. Just an easy reset here. Raucus will head back onto the high ground. Jake actually will be on the same side as Linkser, so not normally a soldier position that we see, and he's going to back off. Yeah.
You didn't expect him in his Spider-Man-like moves. Feeling spry.
Definitely feeling spry. Rocket jumping his way over to the far high ground. The more.
Oh, that was actually pretty close to hitting. He nearly connected with that sleep dart there. Undead already dead here in this fight. There goes the biotic grenade as Shanghai tries to come in, but nobody there to receive it as they've already backed away. Dia drops again. And Houston Outlaws continuing to cruise.
Going to use this pulse bomb. There may be an opportunity here.
I think you don't need to.
I don't know. You look at that, you're like, well, that's a bunch of people that just grouped up and used all their movement abilities. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah.
Especially with Muma there to provide the bubble for you.
I would have used it there, but then again, that's why I'm here and I'm not on stage.
I would have used it there.
We both would have. And it would have been great, but then we wouldn't have had it for the actual scary push that comes in.
That's true.
He made the right decision. We would have made the fun decision. Oh, Jake not having as much fun, but he gets a nice biotic grenade. Stays alive here. Now the nano boost over onto Muma.
Linkser again.
Down. Yeah, and there's a primal rage. I don't even know if they needed this one, man. Roshan and Altering were already out of the fight. And Muma just kind of hopping around. There we go.
There's a cowboy right off the edge.
Goodbye.
I have to say, Muma has been one of the standout players on the Outlaws tonight. Hearing Boink talk about him trying to improve his synergy with the rest of the team, you certainly see the results of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there he goes again. It's gotta hurt. That's gotta be hard on the knees at some point.
Only on the landing, right?
Both, well, also on the takeoff. I mean,
yeah.
Your knees are still pretty close to that rocket exploding.
I suppose in Overwatch you don't take fall damage, but you do take the rocket damage from yourself, so it is actually not hard on the knees for the landing at all.
Oh yeah, that's the least hard part. Knees safe. Rocket's backing away right now, taking it easy, avoids that high noon. Cool Matt can't do it though. Does get the return kill onto Dia. They go 1-1. Valkyrie's pop. Dia brought back up again. Bonnie grabs Cool Matt, brings him up one more time. Shanghai on the point with that transcendence. Bonnie backing away, just trying to keep everybody up. And there, is he gonna actually get it? Ooh, he's going for it. I endorse this. I don't approve it, but I endorse it.
It doesn't actually have the damage through the healing from the Mercy. Almost a stylish play, but instead Shanghai Dragons may well cap this point.
Yeah, it looks like they may actually do it here. I think I may decide to make the analytical call that Bonnie may have wanted to focus on healing at that point, but it was stylish at least. And Shanghai do get the payload going. Cool Matt can rejoin his team.
They're gonna
Raucus.
They're gonna get some good kills here off the split spawn too, and how far ahead Outlaws are playing. So now some space has been created for the Shanghai Dragons, and maybe they can get all the way through point B right now with this kind of pressure. How late the Outlaws are dying one by one.
Well, things kind of fell apart in a hurry there for the Houston Outlaws. I mean, they had that awkward fight at the end of point A, and then people just kind of decided to come in, you know, by ones and twos here in point B, and Shanghai Dragons cruising towards point B. Houston gonna get a chance to set up again though, but that might be a bit tricky.
Yeah, they're gonna have to use this tac visor well if they want to start holding this. Fortunately, they have a nano boost to do so. If the right opportunity presents itself, we may see Jake and Raucus team up with their ults.
Oh, it's scary. Jake getting dove on. They're trying to protect Dia. Here comes the tac visor though. Raucus in a little bit of trouble. Roshan falls. Jake finds Dia with that Soldier 76 ultimate. He's got the nano boost as well. He's waving. That's what you use that nano boost for, man. Aggressive greetings. Hello!
I'm powered up.
That's right. How you doing? Nano boosted greeting.
Well, only 2 ults used from Houston actually, so maintaining the rest of them for a further hold right now. A little over a minute left for Shanghai.
Oh dear.
Muma, okay.
That just happened?
Muma just chased them straight into Linkser on the low ground.
Yeah, he certainly did. Muma now taking a bit of a break. Had to get out of there. Oh, he's going after the McCree. Gets him. They're just so good at finishing those kills that Linkser or Jake have started.
Yeah, Muma's Primal Rage kills tonight have been great overall.
Yeah. They're all bottled up in spawn right now. MG on the D.Va on the side. Yeah, you might as well take a break here. Shanghai coming in with a lot of ultimates. There's one. Primal Rage. used by Roshan to try to scatter the members of Houston. Jake barely staying alive, but Lynx are not so lucky as he will die. Roshan getting low though, needs those mercy heals, finally gets him in the end. Sleep dart, nicely done. Onto MG, they get the DMAC, but there's a self-destruct, and it looks like Shanghai may come out ahead in this fight. Yeah, Bonnie taking a long walk off a long cliff, and that payload's gonna move, but you know what? Houston, they actually have time, I think, to come back and maybe make a go at defending this with a little bit of an ult advantage.
Yeah, it depends. They probably saved those ultimates so they could try and make another defense here after Shanghai's forced to use all of theirs, but they have to get back in time, and Coolmat spawned pretty late, so it looks like, are they gonna go? Yes, they are coming in with the nano-boosted Winston.
All right, they're gonna go for it, actually. Yeah, nano-boosted Winston sent in. Shanghai backing out for the moment. They're going to wait those ultimates out, but they lose. Dia altering brings him back up again. So they've still got a chance here. Now the self-destruct coming in for Coolmat. No kills with that one. Bonnie forced to res Muma. Jake finding a kill on the free field. I got a feeling he's not done quite yet. He flanked around the side, and there's a high noon. Undead taken down before he can pull the trigger, though. And Jake on the run once more. Where's that health pack again? He's going to go for it. Raucus brought back up again by Bonnie, who's been alive through this entire fight, and they may hold it right here. They will. And Houston Outlaws will take a very neat and tidy 4-0 over Shanghai Dragons.
And,
wow.
Yeah, and this Houston Outlaws team finally gets a win. They couldn't win in the preseason. They couldn't win in their first two matches here of Overwatch League, despite the fact that they've been a team that we thought of at least middle of the pack, maybe challenging for a playoff spot come the end of the year, and now we actually get to see the real green wall in front of us.
No kidding. Well, it has been a long time coming, but it really couldn't have come in a more dominant fashion. Houston Outlaws really doing great against the Shanghai Dragons, and you know, when you hit a low point like this as the Dragons, you know, on the positive side, like you mentioned, there's nowhere to go but up from these guys, and it is a long season, and like you said, they do have all these other great teams to practice with here at the Blizzard Arena, and we haven't seen the last of them.
Yeah, we also get to see them play the Dallas Fuel later this weekend.
True.
Who have also been unexpectedly 0-2 to start things off.
Yeah, another chance for them to grab a win. We'll find out what happens, guys. We're going to send it over to the desk and have them break down that match.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Monty, a hot 4-0 coming in for the Houston Outlaws as they lock up their first match win of the regular season here at the Overwatch League. Welcome back, everybody. I am Chris Puckett, your host of the post-game report. I got voices in my ears. We got Bren, we got Sideshow, and we're going to breeze through this breakdown for the final games because we want to remind everybody what's coming up. We have great matches to go on Thursday, but real quick, let's look back at the moments. Oasis, it was the Lynxer show for us, Sideshow. We already highlighted what Jake can do, part of this DPS lineup for the Houston Outlaws. Well, today was the first time we saw Lynxer being used in a control map.
Yeah, Zoe highlighted it when she was on the desk, actually, and she said that this team realizes there's a little bit of an issue with how they've been using their subs. They were winless on control coming into this one, and they put Lynxer in on the Tracer. He's got more of an aggressive style than Clockwork, arguably a slightly better player as well. I think it's kind of more to do with the style that he's got.
Okay.
That allows a little bit of pressure to be taken off Jake in the sky and a couple of the tanks, and they win the ground war rather than just waiting for the enemy to aggress into them.
What did you think of Houston Outlaws in general today on Oasis?
It was a lot more promising, to be honest. In the past, I guess we've seen Houston not being played at their full potential. What it really all took was Lynxer being subbed in my opinion, because there was difference in play style between him and Clockwork. Clockwork tends to be a little bit more patient and passive in terms of his Tracer play, and he's not really sort of one of the players that makes the plays. Like Lynxer is, I guess, playmaker is the word I'd use to describe that.
Someone who makes plays.
Yes, exactly. Apparently that's what you use.
It's great.
But in general, yeah, they looked a lot better, a lot tighter in terms of the general gameplay. Yes, they were playing against Shanghai Dragons when Shanghai have not been playing at their best. However, it does bode well for the future.
All right, Shanghai Dragons, they were really the story of this match for me because we knew after 3 games, Houston had won the matchup. So when we went into Numbani, we wanted to focus on what was going wrong for the Shanghai Dragons, and I think we figured it out. This was clearly demonstrated by the tank play struggling in this one, Sideshow. It seemed at times the heals weren't in position, and then other times the tanks were just a little too far forward.
Yeah, this team's got a bit of messy positioning for sure. Here, Roshan caught out of position. MG is too slow to react, no heals. Roshan dives in really aggressively again. twice he's the first pick, and then again on switching over to Orisa, and it gets picked again. Monty highlighted it. He was the first death in all of these fights when they were playing the defense, and it comes down to a lot of the positioning mistakes and how he's being backed up as well.
You compare that as well to the Houston Outlaws tank play in general, where they're prioritizing survivability. Muma had minimal deaths throughout this entire game. I believe he had 4 to his name throughout the entire match, which is ridiculous. 1 death per map, which is honestly kind of crazy. The guy has been playing incredibly well around his team, and it really just does highlight the superior tank play.
As we close out the day, I know we have one more telestration. This is Sideshow breaking down the overhead of what's going wrong for Roshan and MG, the 2 tank players for the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, so I wanted to look at some of the positioning. So I've got it paused here with the mini-map, and you can take a look at some of the positioning of the guys from Shanghai Dragons. And the reason that it's so strange is that normally, I mean, Roshan is slightly out of position here. You would expect the Winston player to be holding around this kind of area, in this circle, and MG, who's going to attempt to come up here and attempt to peel for him with the defense matrix if he gets attacked, is a little too late to react. Now, the other guys to watch up here are, you could just see them at the top of your screen. Here is Dia, and alongside him is Free Feel. And these guys are positioned on the left-hand side rather than where you would normally expect them, around this kind of area where they can get a better view of the fight and kind of use both of the soldier sightline over here to peel a bit for Roshan in terms of damage, and they can also get the Harmony Orb on. So Roshan is out here with almost no support whatsoever, and you can see that as Coolmat and Muma come up the middle, Linkser is going to be trying to aim a stun onto him. Now, if you get caught out here as Roshan, you need somebody to peel for you, because he's stunned at this moment in time. And MG is too late on the reaction to sweep up here and try and get a defense matrix going. He's got no peel in terms of heals, because the Harmony Orb, there's no sightline to get to him there. And so Roshan is A, out of position because he needs to drop back to the rest of his team, but B, has no ability for anybody else on his team to support him in this one. So it's a double whammy of both him being slightly out of position and an easy target, but also he's not getting any heals and he's not getting peeled for either. So it's just basic positioning errors that they could tighten up that would make this team much better at the fundamentals, I think.
All right, so Shanghai Dragons clearly with some positioning issues. They need to fix the fundamentals before they can fix and tweak some of those key just mechanical plays that we've seen some of these individual players. Let's move on, though, as we go to our player of the match. We have to crown one every game, and this time around, our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, is Muma. No issues in his positioning today. Some of the more aggressive Winston play we saw out of Muma. But you mentioned it earlier. What's that stat, Fred? How many times did he die in the 4 games against Shanghai?
Yeah, only 4 deaths to his name, which is honestly completely ridiculous, to be honest, for an entire match. But Muma's a guy who I've been watching for a very long time. I actually know him from his previous games history as well, where he was playing in Team Fortress 2. And the guy has always been a bit of a grinder, a bit of a grafter, and he's been practicing his tank play for so long. So I'm very happy to see him here in the Overwatch League and seeing so much success as well, and how highly these players rate him.
Hey, you can see his statistics here. He's able to put out a huge amount of damage, and only, I've got to call you out on that one.
Yeah, okay, my bad.
Maybe Muma snuck one in there at some point, but 5, incredibly low. And you can see the difference between Muma and Roshan as well, because even though Muma's playing very aggressively, he's always got Coolmat there to back him up, knowing exactly when to peel for him. He's got Raucus in the backlines, keeping him alive. The system works so much better to empower Muma to get these, even though obviously he's the main frontal guy in this.
He was on point all match long. That's Muma, your player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. The Outlaws, they got to be feeling pretty good about the day as we take a look at the full match breakdown here of Week 2, Day 1. Outlaws now sitting at 1-2. They've got a lot of momentum after the initial losses to Philly and NYXL. And speaking of Philly, they improved their series count with a win over the Shock, and Seoul Dynasty become our first team to go 3-0. As we look at the league standings, Seoul stands atop ahead of everybody else at 3-0. The Valiant, Spitfire, NYXL all behind them at 2-0. And Philadelphia Fusion is our first team to reach 2-1. There's still plenty of matches to go, including tomorrow's games. And honestly, when I saw this week's schedule, this is the the one that had me so fired up. So much on the line for the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws. Who is going to get the big win there at 2 p.m.? Also, we're going to see the NYXL, the unbeaten NYXL, going up against Los Angeles Valiant before two middle-of-the-pack teams, Philadelphia and Fusion, both trying to lock in a position in the top 6. So many great games to go, and it all kicks off 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's Thursday. Set your clocks. We'll see you bright and early. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back with more Overwatch League, kicking things off 2 p.m. Pacific time.